What's up, everyone? It's another episode of Tricky Guy Sports. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B. What is going down? Today, we're going to be discussing in between here, in between the ears.
I ain't got a good brain.
It's such an important thing in sports. You either got it or you don't, man. Michael Jordan, he really... he left the Hornets with the final sting, didn't he? I want to get into that. Steph Curry also pulling out a pretty big miracle there. And just another just kind of general question for you guys to answer for yourself. But let's go ahead and kick it off right now and get into it. We just had the Summer League. The Summer League's gone, baby.
And it's gone.
We were out in Las Vegas, baby. Vegas,
baby, Vegas!
And a lot of highlights from the NBA Summer League. First of all, of course, Victor Wembanyama. I'm going to say his name right eventually. Wembanyama. It's like Adetokounmpo. I got to start getting it right. Wembanyama obviously only had 2 games. First game was not as good as the second, but the second game looked so good, they said, you know what, go ahead, sit your French ass down. We'll take care of you. Although, other highlights from the Summer League now that it's over, I think the Portland or the Rockets won. I don't really care about that. What was more important is who kind of did what. And so, first of all, Chet Holmgren looking like he might be Rookie of the Year next year, which is kind of unfair because technically he's a second-year guy, but because he got hurt, he gets to pretend he's a rookie even though he's had a year. Again, getting stuff in between the ears, starting to understand what the NBA is all about. Got a full year of that, and now gets to pretend he's a rookie, and also was able to put on some much-needed weight there, and able to probably win the whole damn thing. I really do think Chet Holmgren or Scoot Henderson, who had one very good game as well in Summer League before he got hurt, looks like he might be Rookie of the Year. Those are at least my 2 possibilities over Mr. Victor, who's too busy worrying about the Britney Spearses and maybe other things rather than the basketball. But that's all right. So like I said, that was going on. Shout out to the Texas teams besides them, though, Dallas Mavericks. We'll still see how you're doing. But the Houston Rockets look like they might have been the darling of the Summer League.
Rockets! Rockets! It's always about the Rockets! It's always about the Rockets.
Shout out to the Houston Rockets, who looks like, you know, even though they missed out on the Victor stuff, that they at least got some decent other first-round picks there. Cam Whitmore coming all the way down at like 20 due to injury. Looks like he might be the steal of the NBA draft. And Amen Thompson. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, he looks like he might be a really good player. Him and his brother Asar, twin brothers. But Amen is on the Houston Rockets now. They signed Van Vliet. They signed Dylan Brooks. I don't know what the hell that was about. But the big story for the Houston Rockets was Jabari Smith Jr., the former number 3 overall pick, coming in his second year now and just destroyed in Summer League. And they've said it before, and it's true. Almost every year in Summer League, there is that second-year guy or that guy that's been around for a couple that really probably doesn't even belong at that point. Jabari Smith really looked like that one this year. He just looked like he was a man amongst boys. Summer League really is supposed to be for the, fringe guys who are supposed to be at the end of the bench, the rookies trying to get some NBA experience, understand what it's all about, NBA coaching, get, integrated into the systems and all that. And the Rockets had Jabari Smith Jr. just go out there and just wreck shop. Jabari Smith went insane. He was averaging he had 38 points against the Pistons. He averaged 35.5 in the 2 that he played. You got to like the fact he was getting to the free throw line, which he didn't do a lot last year. He shot, 27 free throws in 2 games. He only averaged 3 free throw attempts, or less than 3, I believe, in the regular season last year for the Rockets. He was passing the ball, looking like a creator, looking like a leader out there, even as he hit a game winner that was actually the prelude. So as we were waiting for the Victor Wembanyama thing, I'm going to say his name right eventually, you French froggy annoying 7'4" mutant. But anyways, yes, so the Rockets, they were playing the Blazers, and it was supposed to be, Scoot was the prelude to Victor, and then Scoot went down, and Jabari just took over the whole thing, hits a game winner at the end. The only thing that bothers me is what his teammate did, and I'll show you this. So yes, this was fun. Point 6.
One up in the air. Smith caught it for the win. Oh! An improbable Summer League.
So that was fun.
Victor Wembanyama is the main course tonight, but Jabari Smith just won.
As they just pointed out there, I mean, this was just a prelude. This is just a Summer League game. Then you got Eason doing the Damian Lillard. Really? We're going to do the waving bye at the Summer League.
Jabari Smith just one.
See, that kind of stuff is exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about, is like, what's in between here? Stuff like that, if I'm a coach, it's a big deal to me. It is. Even though it's silly, it's not. Even though it's not important, it is. Like, trying to get these guys and trying to understand what goes on in that noggin of theirs is, to me, just as much as important as what happens on the court. What happens between the ears is just as important as what happens between the lines. So let me then delve off. So again, we had Victor look good in the Summer League. Summer League's over now. Rockets, I believe, won the whole thing, if I'm not mistaken. They look fantastic, led by Jabari Smith Jr., who looks like in his second year he's ready to go, along with Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore. Rockets look like bright future.
Rockets, it's always about the Rockets. It's always about the Rockets.
And then Scoot Henderson, by the way, did look well along with Victor as the 1 and 3. But let's go ahead and get into number 2. The number 2 pick of the NBA draft, and a guy that I told you, oh my God, if I haven't screamed about this guy from the beginning I started my podcast. Brandon Miller was a disappointment in the Summer League, and you're surprised. It's fascinating to me that you're surprised. It's fascinating, Charlotte Hornets fan. It's fascinating, NBA draft analyst, that you guys really were not seeing this one coming. This is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the idea that what happens in between your ears is just as important as what happens in between the lines. And it is a good way of measuring what they are going to do on the basketball court, along with just whatever talent they have. It's just, I really, really, truly do not understand how you guys didn't see this one coming. I mean,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Michael Jordan not seeing it, fine. I understand. Michael Jordan, he's gotten rid of the Hornets, thank God, because the fact is he just was never a very good owner. He was never a very good general manager. And it looks like he stung them one more time with that new ownership before he went ahead and headed out of here. Because Brandon Miller is the one, out of usually the top 3 picks, there's always one that kind of either just fades out or becomes a bust. And it looks like he's going to be the one that becomes a bust here. And I mean, other than maybe y'all are surprised, I flat said from the beginning,
See, I done told you. I done told you.
I said this one from jump, and yes, we still got a long ways to go, but there has been nothing that hasn't told me that Brandon Miller is going to be a bust. The fact is, Charlotte Hornets, you really need to pay attention. NBA fans need to pay attention. Not drafting Scoot Henderson is going to be very, very, in my opinion, something you're going to regret for a very long time. Not trading out of that number 2 pick, so other teams that were maybe excited for him or Scoot when you already had LaMelo Ball and you could have maybe got some veterans. Lord knows the Hornets could use some veteran leadership, but this is just a more just in general thing here I want to discuss. So Brandon Miller, by the way, did not play well in the Summer League. He finally had one good game in the last one, but in the very first 2, and again, a lot of this speaks to me up here, the first 2 games, he only had as many field goal attempts taken in the first 2 games in Sacramento as he did fouls. So he was mentally checked out. He mentally wasn't there. Then he decides he's going to really start shooting, and he starts shooting too much. So the next few games, because they told him, hey, you barely shot at all. You have as many field goal attempts as you do personal fouls. You're the number 2 pick. We're trying to highlight you and get you ready to be this franchise player. Could you possibly maybe, take a shot? So instead of taking just a couple shots, he then takes 16 shots per game. I mean, he's just not all that bright, man. And he shot 35% from the field, only 26% from 3. You guys were somehow, just surprised by all this. I don't know what. He's not a bright guy. Brandon Miller is not a bright guy. I mean, this is something, good God. I mean, from all the way at the beginning of when I started talking on this podcast, and you can go back to my pages and look it all up. Look at the earliest episodes all the way back when I was talking about this kid, all the way back at Alabama, all the way back when he helped assist in the murder or the homicide of a young woman, left a boy without a mother. I was saying from that point, I called this one. This was my earliest called shots of me saying I would not touch Brandon Miller with a 10-foot pole.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
He's calling his shot.
I mean, let me just go ahead and get all the way into this. And I know I'm kind of, getting all over the map here, but I got to talk about this because you guys drive me insane. I mean, I had multiple ones. This is just the last one I did as far as this was also months ago. I'll just play this for you. Again, I call this called shots when I kind of let you know, dude, I've been saying this. In case you haven't been listening to the podcast, I've been telling you, Brandon Miller is not the guy. Brandon Miller is not someone I would touch as a general manager. And I was talking about this before the NCAA tournament freaking started. So yeah, let me play this for you.
Did it all year. Kiss my ass. I don't care. A woman just died a week ago, and you or at least somehow involved with it. And it's more about he's going to take flight and whatever. It's feigning a check down.
By the way, this is the part when I was ranting about this. As you can see, though, I had the why they shouldn't draft him, all the other stuff. I was also pointing out just again the mental thing with Brandon Miller. Now I'm going to get into more important as far as what he's doing on the court and how it relates to what's going on now. But the fact, I told you from the beginning. I was talking about this before I talked about it this time on this called shot. I mean, good God, if I have not been right about anything yet, I mean, give me Brandon Miller. If you go back and know what I've been discussing and you've been listening to everything I've been telling you. But yes, this is, by the way, just when I was talking about just what he was doing mentally on the court when he feigned being checked down for a weapon after the week after the murder happened.
A pistol is what it is. I mean, God dang, I can only be so... Like, come on, man. Like, that's a pat down. That's what that is. One more time, in case you just want to go ahead and piss me off. Tell me that's not a pat down, and I'll call you a liar to your face. Yay, Brandon Miller. Woman just died. That's a pat down. Stop it. Anything else is bullcrap. You're lying.
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dum-dum talk.
If I'm a GM, I'm not touching him. I'm not touching that. With the number 2 pick, are you out of your mind? I don't give a damn how good he is. I mean, he doesn't have... It is so hard to keep your head straight in the National Basketball Association. Ask, Allen Iverson. Ask John Morant. Ask Zion Williamson. Ask, how many cautionary tales do I have to go to of people that showed you levels of stupidity that don't seem to figure it out? The more you enable them and the more you continue to not show them any repercussions for their actions. The idea that he's going to suddenly be the sweet kid, maybe he will. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I do know that I have to go by what you've shown me, and what you've shown me is that you're a liar. I don't believe you. I don't believe when someone said, bring me my joint, and that happened to be a gun that you had no clue that was going on. You're completely full of it to me on that. And second of all, that a week later, you were still so tone deaf that you thought anything involving even the reference to doing this and making a pat-down gesture was a good idea in any way, shape, or form. Dude, what are you going to do with $100 million? What are you going to do when every girl on the planet wants to bang you? What are you going to do when you have every opportunity to do anything you want, whenever you want, and even less rules applied to you?
So, I mean, good God.
Man, I'm tired of being right.
Besides the fact that he's playing bad, and I'll even tell you why, and this is, again, just an overall analyzation of why teams need to pay more attention to the little things and what happens in certain situations. I'll explain to you even why on the court this was just a bad idea, and Scoot Henderson is going to be the bane of Charlotte's existence for the next 10 to 12 years, if you ask me. The fact is, he is, and so he got drafted by the Hornets, obviously, and he's an idiot. He's not a smart guy. He says a lot of stupid things. Somehow this is a surprise to a lot of people. I have a compilation. So after he gets drafted, Brandon Miller, being Brandon Miller, the guy who does all the stupid stuff that helped with in some ways assisted with the murder, pretended like he didn't know, who did all the extra stuff, and then just goes on to start talking, and he's not bright. And I don't know how this is a shock to anyone, but I'll play some stuff that he said. Jesus H. Christ.
You said post one of those workouts, you wanted to come in, you wanted to make that a winning team, you wanted to do everything that you could to help kind of turn that franchise around. So now that you are a part of that team, how do you see yourself fitting into the mix?
Like you said, just making all the winning plays, doing whatever the team needs me to do. I think I see the Charlotte Hornets in the NBA Finals next year.
See, already, right there. I mean, give me a freaking break. The Charlotte, this is not, that's not confidence. That's just utter stupidity to say something that's just jackassery, just dumb. The Hornets are making the finals next year. Really. Let me enlighten people in case they haven't been following. The Charlotte Hornets not made the playoffs in the last 7 years in a row. They've only made 2 of the last 10 playoff appearances in the last 10 seasons. They also, again, have not made the playoffs in the last 7 seasons in a row. And you want to walk in right after you get drafted and just, this is all a death by 1,000 cuts, and if you weren't paying attention to the little things, this might have shocked you what he ended up doing in Summer League and the fact that he's going to be a bust. But let me go ahead and keep laying this out here. So saying little things like that a lot of people might go, oh, what are you mad about? That's him being confident. That's him, showing that he's ready for next season and that he's into it and he's a confident guy. That's just stupid. There's nothing. This team that has not made the playoffs in the last 7 seasons is going to make the playoffs now because they drafted you. You haven't played a game yet. You haven't stepped foot in the organization, but you already understand that you're going to make the NBA Finals with a team that has not made the playoffs in the last 7 seasons because you just showed up. That's not smart. That's not cute to me. And if you had and added everything up, you should have saw this coming. But then he kept talking after this. Brandon Miller continued, and again, he's just not a bright dude.
The big trophy at the end.
This is him, by the way, playing some game, and he's trying to, that's like, would you win with this starting 5? It's one of the many games you put on these TikToks and all this other stuff here. But the thing that's important here, he's not going to recognize who Chris Middleton is, who was just on a championship team as an all-star player, and, oh, by the way, plays his position. Brandon Miller is so inept and so stupid that he doesn't even understand or even recognize one of the top people in the NBA, not just in the NBA, but at the position he's going to be playing. Oh my God! You didn't see it coming? Big mystery. Big mystery.
I don't know these two. No, I can't see. Yeah, I'll keep the small forward, whoever that is.
I'll keep the small forward, whoever that's Chris Middleton. That's an all-star in your position. That's one of the guys who just won an NBA title a couple years ago. You're the number 2 pick of the NBA draft. This is supposed to be a job that you take very, very seriously, and you don't recognize one of the top guys in the spot that you play. Oh, by the way, is also in your conference. If you're going to go to the NBA Finals, as you decided you're going to, even though you haven't stepped foot onto a basketball court yet, you're probably going to have to go through him and his team. You might want to maybe recognize who it is in a freaking game about, could you? Jesus H. Christ. Then he won't recognize Valanciunas, who, whatever. It's a center, and he's a foreign guy. That's a little different here.
Oh, yeah. That's my 5 right there.
How far are they making it?
We going to championship. I don't know the center.
Yeah, I don't know the center. Again, saying, and one more time, we're going to go to the championship. I'm with the Hornets. We're going to go to the championship. Everything I do, we're going to go to the championship. I didn't go to the championship in Alabama. Matter of fact, I played horrible. I played all-time horrible, and we ended up being one of the only times ever, actually the time ever in NCAA history that none of the number 1 seeds made into the Elite 8. It was the first time that's ever happened. He actually was on top of the number 1, the overall number 1 in Alabama, who lost and basically caused that. He couldn't win in the NCAA tournament. He had an all-time worst performance, but he's going to win the championship. He shows up to Charlotte, hasn't made the playoffs in 7 seasons, but we're going to make the championship. He's looking at this team. He can't recognize 2 of the 5, but if you ask him, I'm going to make the championship. He's an idiot.
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dum-dum talk.
At this point, I'm not picking on him anymore. I have a history of looking at this kid and going, this kid is dumb as a bag of rocks, and I don't know how it's shocking people that he's showing you he's not ready for what he's about to have coming towards him. So here he is talking about Michael Jordan, and he calls him again. You just heard him, just a regular guy. Michael Jordan, when he went to his pre-draft interview, this is before he was drafted, he decided to go ahead and do an interview on one of the Sirius XM shows and openly disses the guy who ended up drafting him anyways. But does that seem like a smart idea? Does that seem like something you should be doing if you're the number 2 possible overall pick? And, oh, by the way, you're coming off a college season where you had a horrible NCAA tournament, and right before that you helped assisted into a homicide that led to a child not having a mother anymore. Does that really seem like a bright time to start going ahead and start, talking crap about the guy who's supposed to pick you at the number 2 spot?
I'm a dumbass.
Oh, my, this kid here.
Michael Jordan was just a regular guy to me in the gym watching me work out. So I mean, it was definitely cool meeting him. He definitely sounds like how he sounds on TV, always trash talking. So I just really had a fun time with him.
But you also mentioned within that he's just like he is on TV. He's talking trash. So what did he say to you?
He told me I was just a shooter, just shooting threes. So I mean, it's nothing with him. I know my talents and my abilities. You can't really let Jordan get in your head, you know. It might make him feel good and make you feel bad. So kind of talking trash back to him. I witnessed him airball the free throw too. So
wait, so Jordan airballed the free throw?
I always have that up against him.
This is before he got drafted. This is before he was drafted. Yeah, you know, seeing Mike, seeing the greatest of all time who might be my boss, it was kind of cool or whatever, but it wasn't really a big deal. Oh, by the way, he airballed a free throw. Did you know that? It's become exhausting. I mean, this is like, it ends up taking so much of my time because somehow he still got drafted number 2 overall above Scoot Henderson. Somehow it is a surprise that he is struggling in the NBA Summer League. And let me go ahead, and by the way, I looked into this too. There is nothing on the court that should have told you that Brandon Miller was not going to be the bust of the top 3 in this year's NBA draft, and that Charlotte Hornets are going to horribly regret drafting Brandon Miller above Scoot Henderson or trading out of that and getting a proven commodity in, I don't know, anyone else not named this kid. So, I mean, let's ignore everything I just brought onto you as far as his mental, just completely debilitating struggles of just everything that comes out of this kid's mouth is stupid.
That's dopey talk. That's dopey dum-dum talk.
Let's ignore the fact that when Brandon Miller was texted, "Bring me my joint," to his teammate, and he brought him what he didn't know was a gun that led to a murder, he actually had the nerve to say, when someone texted me, "Bring me my joint," and they went and brought him whatever was supposed to be his joint, he was shocked that it was a gun, and he's shocked that it was led to violence. Let's ignore the fact that he's also, by the way, a lot of times said that Paul George is the greatest player of all time and that that's quote-unquote his GOAT. Let's ignore the fact that he didn't know who Chris Middleton was, a guy who's in his own conference. He says he's going to win an NBA title next year, but he can't recognize one of the top players in his own position, in his own conference that he's going to be going against. And, I mean, just Jesus Christ. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore the fact that he doesn't know other NBA players. Let's ignore the fact that he said the Charlotte Hornets are going to make the NBA Finals, even though we haven't made the NBA Finals in the last 7 seasons just because I showed up. Let's ignore all of that and just go into what has Brandon Miller also done on the court that was going to tell you that anything is going to be different than what's happened so far and what will continue to happen in the future, if you ask me. Brandon Miller, even on the court, was showing you from the beginning that this kid does not like the big lights. This kid does not like the pressure right now, and he's not going to give me anything that tells me he takes the game serious enough or that he's going to apply himself serious enough or that he just is even just all the, I don't know if he's all the way there. I don't know if Brandon Miller is all the way there. I really don't know if this kid is got it, man. But on the court, when it mattered, and I'm going to look at the NCAA tournament and versus top 50 teams. If this stuff doesn't let you know exactly what I'm getting into, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm not even mad at you. You just don't want to hear it.
Actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Okay, so in the NCAA tournament, which to me is a big, proponent of showing me what can you do in the NBA. And you think of a lot of guys who have had good NBA careers, they had great NCAA tournaments. Guys like Steph Curry, Kimball Walker was up and down, but I mean, he obviously had good NCAA. When the lights were on, he showed you what he was about. Gordon Hayward, Magic Johnson, Patrick Ewing, Jerry West. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of people that have shown you that when the lights were bright, I do well. If you draft me, that means in the next part of my career, it's most likely at least indicative or a good sign that I'm going to do well. Brandon Miller was not just the opposite. He was historically bad as the opposite. Brandon Miller was so bad. And yes, you could say he had a groin injury. You can say that because of everything that happened, he was getting death threats and he had to walk around with armed security and it was really rough on him and yada, yada, yada. I'm sure it was just as rough as a child who just lost his mom thanks to a little bit of his help. But the fact is, he shot 19.5% over 3 games in the NCAA tournament. Brandon Miller did not just shoot bad. He shot the worst in recorded NCAA tournament history since 1960. For anyone that shot at least 40 or more field goal attempts, his 19.5% was the worst ever in NCAA history since 1960. He shot 5 of 22 from 2 points. That was for 22.7%. He shot 3 of 19 from 3-pointers. That was good for 15.8%, which equals a total of 8 of 41, which is 19.5%. And oh, by the way, was 2 of 10 on layups. He shot 20% in the tournament from the layup line. Oh, I'm not done. Let's go ahead and look at then what he did overall versus top 50 teams. Let's say, okay, the NCAA tournament, that's unfair because you can't look at what he's going to do going forward based on just what was happening there. He was hurt. He had a unique situation with the homicide thing. We don't really know. Those few games isn't really fair. What about what he did in the rest of the time when he was Alabama SEC Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, all that type of stuff? It's a great point. Do you know that he only fed on the weak? So Brandon Miller, unfortunately, got most of his stats against normally not that great of teams. When Brandon Miller had to play a top 50 team, and this is all stats you can look up, Brandon Miller only shot 38%. When Brandon Miller had to play against real competition and had to play a top 50 or ranked team higher, he only shot 38%, 55 of 143 for the season. When he played a team that was at the bottom of that, the 50 or under, some of the worst teams in college, that's when he shot 63%. So once again, giving us an indicative of like when he has to go against someone who's actually tough, Brandon Miller seems to like to fold. How about that back to the NCAA tournament versus San Diego State when they got eliminated, when they were the #1 overall seed, when they were the first time ever that they helped contribute to the fact that no #1 seed in the NCAA tournament made it to the Elite Eight for the first time in history, and they had what was considered the best team in the entire tournament and lost to little barely ranked San Diego State, that he was 3 of 19. 3 of 19, 10 of those were considered by an SSI, which is like a way of measuring like the quality of shots. He took 10 of his 19 shots were considered not just mediocre shots or kind of okay shots, they were considered bad shots. So in the biggest game of his career so far that we could hold him to see what he could do, he was 3 of 19, didn't just miss shots, he also took some of the worst shots you could possibly take statistically. Took over half of his shots were on that level. He's also been exposed by the fact that he also is most likely someone who feeds on open court and able to play at a fast pace. And you see this a lot in AAU and stuff, and you'll watch other teams. You'll see guys who can play better in an AAU tournament or against weak guys or whatever, and on a fast-paced team that'll get up and down, and it helps his field goal percentages and it makes his points per game look good because he's getting layups, he's getting stuff off turnovers, he's getting open shots based on the chaos of the fast break, stuff like that. Brandon Miller may have and is showing us that possibly that's where he lived and is why he's already struggling in just the NBA Summer League, which isn't even the NBA yet. Brandon Miller was on the 6th highest pace team in college in Alabama. That was actually the highest as far as offensive pace goes in the NCAA tournament in the entire tournament, all the teams combined. He went against in San Diego State when he shot his 10 bad shots that were, way just horrible shots on his way to 3 of 19. That game, he had to go against the top and slowest defensive pace team in the entire tournament. So this should have been for general managers a perfect kind of way of looking at, okay, I mean, he's been able to get up and down and play against weak competition and do well in the little SEC, but when he goes against top 50 teams, he struggles. And when he goes against a good defensive team that can slow him down and his fast break abilities and open shots aren't there, he is historically bad. But, I mean, not only in that, and then they did more stats than in the half court where he had to actually run a pick and roll that game. He was 0 of 6 with 5 turnovers, was 0 of 5 off ball screens. Dude, what else? I got into a lot of stats there, and I understand that. But it's not just as far as like the guy says just completely idiotic stuff. It's the fact that if you look on the court and if you add everything together, by what we've seen in Summer League, by what we've seen in NCAA tournament, by what we've seen in his regular season in Alabama, this is a kid who's not just immature, that's not just irresponsible, who doesn't say just stupid things. Statistically, it's been proven that he usually gets his points against weak competition, and if he's not able to get open court layups or do something as far as a free, fast form kind of thing, he's not even able to be a top, I would argue, 5 or 10 talent in this league, because if you put him in teams that were able to get him and do the half court and make him run pick and rolls and make him run an offense, he couldn't do it. You know why? Because you have to have a brain to run an offense.
I ain't got a good
This kid ain't got it, man. That was quite a load, man. I understand that was a lot.
Quite a load.
Well, Van can handle quite a load.
I don't know what else to tell you. This kid, in my opinion, will continue to be a bust. This kid will continue to frustrate you Hornets fans going into the future. He doesn't show me off the court. He doesn't show me on the court. There are statistics that don't have any good way, shape, or form as far as proving me otherwise. So far in the Summer League, which isn't even as hard as the NBA, he's already been showing you struggles. He's already once again shooting bad, where he has to get into regular half-court stuff and have to, run an actual offense. I think you're going to continue to see this going forward. And overall, Michael Jordan stung you guys one more time. And yeah, I told you this, though, months ago. I wish you guys would listen to me a little bit more, but you don't have to. Who am I? I'm just some crazy guy talking on the microphone.
See, I done told you.
I'm done. I'm done with it. I don't want to get into it anymore. I want to go have some fun. I want to talk about some other stuff here. I want to talk about another thing that goes between the ears, the game of golf. Let's talk about golf a little bit. Let's talk about my man, Steph Curry. Gotta love my boy, Steph. Won the American Century Classic.
Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry.
As he beat Marty Fish. Actually, didn't just do it in exciting fashion. Steph Curry was able to win the entire, this is like a high-end level celebrity pro-am tournament here where it's it's celebrities and stuff, but it's on the higher end of it. It's one of those that's it's very competitive. And Steph Curry was not able just to win it. He was able to win it in exciting fashion as he eagled on the 18th hole. But the big thing that a lot of people saw and went viral, he had a hole-in-one. I mean, Steph Curry, by the way, played high school golf. I hope you guys know that. Steph Curry played and was considered one of the best golfers in his high school and in the, the surrounding area there. Steph Curry was quite the golfer, and statistics also show that he has apparently one of the best, it's like the cyberkinetic coordination thing. I don't know about all that. That goes beyond my brain and just basic understanding here. But anyway, so I'll show you this. So Steph Curry, like I said, hits a hole-in-one, the only person ever to hit a hole-in-one in the tournament on this hole.
And it's obvious he can really play.
Boy.
One bounce. Are you kidding me? But that is an extraordinary moment. The golfer comes from a family of...
He was running around having a good time. Steph Curry, he's the man. Steph Curry's the man. I don't care what you say.
Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry.
But the thing I want to talk about, besides the fact that that was cute and that was fun, and that we'd all love to see Steph Curry, maybe, he's getting to where he's pretty darn good. What could he do if he tried to play on the low end of a pro, not against, obviously the Rorys and all that level of competition, but what could he do in a smaller tournament would be very interesting for, I think, a lot of us Warriors fans to see. The big thing and the controversy was that somebody in the crowd, he was going against a guy named Marty Fish. Marty Fish, a former tennis player, but barely a celebrity, and really was considered one of the best golfers and is almost considered a PGA level golfer. This was at the 18th hole. They were going back and forth, and it came down to the last, hole to see who could win. And on Marty's backswing, we had someone from the crowd yell, "I am a dumb." And a lot of people were very upset about that, including Steph Curry did not really appreciate it. But in case you missed it, this is Marty Fish on the 18th coming off the onto the green here, or his tee shot, excuse me, and some ding-dong decided to yell during his backswing. So if you hear that one more time, let me do it one more time here. And, so they obviously someone apparently yelled. He ended up hooking that thing way off, and then it led for Steph Curry, who still had to hit a really good eagle putt to win. But the argument is that really that was unfair, that he shouldn't have done that, or that he should have maybe been able to redo that. I don't know what exactly the golf bitching is, but that he should have been able to, that wasn't cool. And so I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel or how much sympathy I get into when it comes to, is it okay or not okay, or should I feel bad when somebody yells during someone's backswing in golf? Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know how big of a deal that is, in my opinion. I think I come from basketball, and so that's tough for me. It's tough for me to feel any sympathy at all. It's tough for me to feel like I should, I don't know, be that sympathetic to the fact that, oh, did someone make a noise during your precious sport?
Cry me a river, you fat baby. You disgust me.
When you come from, fans of being basketball and football like I am, man, dude, crowd noise and interaction and yelling and screaming is part of it. I understand, look, golf, you're different. This is a gentleman's game. It's a quiet game. It's supposed to be all about concentration. I'll even give you the argument that golf is the strongest as far as challenging what happens in between the ears. It's the strongest mental dilemma that you can go through in sports, arguably of any of the professional sports that you can put out there, maybe besides like a fighting or something like that. It's really is, a lot of it is all up here. Golf is a very frustrating sport in the way that it's structured, especially in the PGA, where you could have 69 great holes and then have the bad 70th and triple bogey, and suddenly your entire weekend is done. I get it. It can be frustrating. It can be annoying. But the idea that the entire tournament or that anything was really that different because one person yelled during one person's backswing. Again,
Cry me a river, you fat baby. You disgust me.
I come from basketball, man. Like, dude, it's an art form. It's literally an art form to try to distract basketball players from shooting. A free throw is also, a lot of games are decided by free throws. In case you missed this, I put this up a while ago, but it just reminded me of this. If you're a golf person and you're getting upset at me for not being sympathetic enough to Marty Fish and others when, oh my God, the whole tournament was ruined because somebody made a noise while they were swinging their precious club, you got to remember what sport I come from and the levels that are taken in order to distract someone from trying to do what they're trying to accomplish, which is put the ball in the hole just as much as you're trying to put the ball in the hole. This is a compilation of some of the best, and some of these are just absolutely fantastic. But again, golf fan, remember where we're coming from here. Let's start off with this one. This is Sheridan College, where apparently they're going to pretend to give birth during a free throw. Oh, he's a little 10-pound 8-ouncer. Which, besides the way of being hilarious, was also very effective, apparently. Michael Phelps joined Arizona State one time. They got a whole damn curtain of distraction.
He didn't go to college, so he's getting his college experience. That's right. That's great. Two of them. That's unbelievable.
Michael Phelps helped join a team that has a whole goddamn section just designed in order to, with a curtain and everything, to help distract the free throw shooter. A lot of people remember this from last year. DeMar DeRozan's daughter was screaming like a banshee.
Never mind. Don't worry.
Squealing her head off there. She was actually famous for a while there and was credited as the opposing team did not shoot their free throws well that day. Maybe it had to do with the fact that velociraptor noise was coming from the front row every time someone shot one. Mr. Whammy, to me, I don't even think this is worthy of some Brooklyn thing. I don't really.
Didn't work on the first one. Let's see if it pans out here for him. They got him. It's all him.
But this last one, when again, oh no, people are yelling during backswings in golf. It's horrible. Marty Fish, the poor bastard. The only reason he lost is because on the 18th, someone was going meh and making a noise. This has got to be my favorite. And again, how do I feel sorry for people when I watch a sport where McAdoo here from North Carolina is trying to shoot? Listen to this fan. This is beautiful.
On some of those under 17, under 16, under 17 teams. It's actually the USA basketball.
Someone yelled during my backswing. Really? You ever had someone scream Miley Cyrus hysterically and Weird Al Yankovic the lyrics as you're trying to concentrate on something?
On some of those under 17, under 16, under 17 teams. It's actually the USA basketball.
I got to give him credit to that. That's fantastic. If I'm ever going to be distracted by an important free throw in a game, I want it to be this guy coming up with new lyrics to Wrecking Ball. This is good.
On some of those under 17, under 16, under 17 teams. It's actually the USA basketball.
Whatever, though. I mean, so again, Marty Fish, I wanted Steph Curry to win anyways. It was fun to watch Steph Curry win the tournament. I would love to see him go against more guys at least Marty's level of PGA, at least borderline competition. But the idea that the whole thing was lost because someone yelled during Marty's backswing on the 18th, I understand it's golf. I understand you guys take it serious. But understand the sport I come from and cry me a river.
Cry me a river, you fat baby. You disgust me.
All right, last thing that I'm going to get to some fun videos here. I saw this online, and I wanted to make a quick point. And if you guys want to join in on this, feel free to comment underneath or let me know what you think. So let me know. This is one of these would you rathers. You see a lot of these in a lot of different areas, but this one came out in sports, and I thought this was a fair, interesting question. Would you rather? So would you rather be Robert Horry and have 7 championship rings and $54 million, or would you rather be James Harden and have $300 million, all the money in the world, but 0 rings? So an interesting dilemma here. Would you rather be rich, $300 million, James Harden rich? Money, 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 money. Or would you be willing to have only $54 million and have 7 rings instead of 0?
0.0.
$54 million, 7 rings, or $300 million and 0 rings. Which one would you rather do? Look, for me, it's easy. It's Horry. And it's not even just because that's that should be the answer if you're a sports fan that like, oh, well, you got to have your championships. You got to be able to, your legacy is defined by your rings. And if you look at, all the greatest players of all time, they all got a lot of championships. And I mean, and that's what matters to me. And winning's the only thing and all that. I'm not saying all that.
It's the only argument I need, Sean!
I am saying that there's a bigger thing to this that I want to discuss as far as like, and give me again your thoughts on which one you would rather go with. I'm going to go with $54 million and I'm going to go with 7 rings versus $300 million and 0 rings. Not only because of legacy, not only because I would much rather be remembered as Robert Horry, even though I was just a middle of the road player, quote unquote. I'm Big Shot Bob. I have, big shots. People remember the Sacramento one. There was ones in Houston as well when he was a Rocket. And, the memories that are going to last long past my career that unfortunately when we think of James Harden, we don't think about a lot of great things that happened in the playoffs. But the bigger point I want to make, and I got another thing I want to show you here and why I would pick being Robert Horry over James Harden. Besides just the success on the court, it's still $54 million. And I got bad news for a lot of people out there. If you think that you're going to not be happy at $54 million right now, you're not going to be happy at $300. If you think that $54 million is not life-changing enough and that you need $300, dude, it's $54 million. You don't need... I really don't know how to explain this any better. If $54 million is not, in your opinion, your life, your generations after you life-changing, and that you need the $300 million... dude, it's really not going to make that big a difference, man. You could spend 54 wisely and blow 300 very quickly. And to me, if you have that mindset of like, it doesn't matter about anything else, it only matters about all the money I make, I kind of feel for you there because I don't think 300 is going to mean any more than 54, and you're probably going to go through both just as quick. So not even to be super philosophical, and you guys, by the way, can comment and let me know what you think. I'm going to say 54 million and 7 rings over the 300 and 0, besides the fact that I want to be remembered for actually being a winner in my sport, but also because, dude, if 54 ain't going to make you happy, 300 ain't going to do it either. I mean, look, there's people around and there's athletes that can prove this to you. Lionel Messi, who just went to Miami, by the way, is like maybe the richest athlete of all time. I mean, you want to talk about athletes who make money. Lionel Messi just got signed to Miami for like a quadrillion, billion, jillion, billion to gazillion dollars. I mean, soccer players sign contracts that make NBA and baseball players feel poor. I mean, they are just on a different level of money. And you know what the first thing Lionel Messi was seen doing? In Miami. Miami, with all the lights and the glamour and the glitz, and he's the brand new big thing there. David Beckham came out to welcome him to the new team, and it was absolutely this amazing thing of like, oh my God, he's here. There was 18,000 people who came out in the rain just to see Messi show up to this new professional MLS team in Miami, who's been apparently terrible, and he's like the only big thing coming. It's Miami too, man. I mean, the hoes, the clubs, the nightlife, all the ways you can spend your money. Do you know what Lionel Messi, who's had money now for a while, did with his free time? He went to the grocery store. This is what I'm talking about. This guy has way more than $300 million. I believe last time we saw net worth was like at $700 million. He's got plenty of money. And you know what he wanted to do with his time? Because the money stuff eventually just kind of runs thin. And if you don't have happiness and you don't have success, you're just not going to be a happy person in the next place. He went to the damn Publix. Do you think Lionel Messi ever has to, with, again, I want to say net worth of $700 million, ever go to the grocery store just to shop with his family? Do you know why he did it? Because he probably hasn't been able to in a long time. Miami's one of the few towns, it's like in New York, that'll actually, you can go out and do stuff like that. But get a load of this. Lionel Messi was at the grocery store with his family. Got his kids, his girl, just chilling. If you don't understand what I'm trying to say as far as the would you rather and why, 300 million is better than 54, this guy's got triple that, and this is what he wants to do. Eventually, all that stuff just kind of, you know, do you think he can't DoorDash every single day if he wants to? That was something he wanted to do. Because, again, money doesn't really matter that much. He's now considered the greatest of all time if you think about what he did in the World Cup in this last season, or the last go-around of the World Cup, helping Argentina, where he is now officially God. He could just stay in Argentina and be basically a deity, and instead decided he wants to continue his career. He wants to hang out with his family. He wants to go to the grocery store, you know, because that type of stuff's more important to him. So one more time, when I go back and look at this, and I look at this would you rather, what would you rather be? A successful person with a good amount of money, or a person with a ton of money and no considered success in your sport? To me, this is open and shut. This is night and day. This is absolutely one way or the other. Why would you not have the 7 rings, have some legendary status, be considered one of the GOATs or one of the greatest clutch shooters of all time at least, and you still have $54 million, where I promise you, if that's the only thing that's going to make you happy, the $300 million will not be able to put you over that hump. Money, 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 money. It's in the end, Denzel Washington said it best. There's no U-Hauls behind a hearse. I'll repeat that for you one more time. There's no U-Hauls behind a hearse. You can't take this stuff with you. You know, a lot of the stuff, and you either get it in between here or you don't. If you don't, you don't. There's not much I can do about it. The only thing I can do now for you is have some fun at the end of the show and play some videos.
You seen it? You seen it? Don't look at me. Don't look at me, little puppet.
Have you seen this? Have you read about this?
All right. This is something just silly, funny, sports, maybe not sports-related things I like to look at because it makes me laugh, it makes me cry, it makes me cringe, it makes me do a little bit of everything in between, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Always, at this point, go to the YouTube version of the show. Search Tricky Guy Sports on YouTube. This is kind of a special way for us to have a little fun together and either laugh, cry, or do anything in between. Let's see. Where did I want to start here? Oh, I got a good one. I'm going to save it for the end. I'm going to save that one for the end. But let's start off with some fun here. And, yeah, track and field. Don't count your chickens, man. Don't count your chickens. There's 100 of these videos, but here's the latest one. Some high school track place. Kid decided to try to taunt before it was over. Didn't go well. Oh, peace be to you, brother, because you just fell. Oh, you dumb bastard. One more time, let's see it again. Kids, stop doing this. It doesn't look good, it's not cute, and in the end, a lot of times, karma decides to kick your ass. Yeah, I'm going to win, and I fell. And the other kid's pointing back at you as you lost, and everyone's laughing at you, and now you're viral on the internet. Don't do stuff like that. It's not cool. It doesn't usually work out a lot of ways. And even if you pull it off, a lot of times it's like, really? Douchebag? Yeah, I mean, just you know, just overall, that was just a bad idea, but that was a good start. Speaking of bad ideas, and I'm going to continue to hammer this, baseball fan, until I see this happen every time, I'm going to continue to reiterate this.
Baseball stuff!
If you throw a baseball at me and I'm the hitter and I have a large wooden club, I'm going to continue to use this as a weapon. I found another clip of this. This is back, I want to say, from the 70s, I believe. But yeah, if you throw a hard object at me as fast as you can, and now all you have left is a leather glove in your hands, bitch, I got a bat. I'm going to keep showing these because these make me laugh. Oh, you want to hit me with the ball? Word? Yeah. Hurl the bat at him. Because kiss my ass, dude. You can't throw. You're going to throw your stupid little ball? I have a large wooden stick, moron. Take that. Campaneris was not having it, man. And he's not the only one that's done it, and I don't blame him. I do not blame anyone who does this, because why the hell not? You were throwing the ball at me. I've got a stick in my hand I can beat you to death with. Let me go ahead and try that. Let me see if I can still find the other one. Do I still have it somewhere here? I'm going to keep showing these until I run out of the ability to do so, because I keep finding them over and over and over where these guys just have enough. And I get it. And I absolutely get it. Let me see if I can find it. If I can't find it, I'll just show you that last one more time, and then we'll move on from it. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Do I not have it? Do I not have it? Oh, bump, bump, ba boom. Wow, I'm sorry. I thought I did. Thought I did. Maybe I just want to throw a bat at myself now. Gosh darn it. Thought I had it. Still, take that. Stupid. Throw a baseball at me. Got a stick in my hand. This is another one here. Oh, this is good. It's another baseball one. And, this is maybe illegal now a lot of times in baseball, where the idea of the home plate collision, it's unsafe, and a lot of times it really is. This is when, they used to do this a lot back in the day. Ty Cobb famously would sharpen his cleats as he would slide into certain bases trying to actually stab or cut whoever was, this is all the way back in the 1900s. But even today, you still got your old school, you got your guys from back in the day who go, you know what, home plate, I really want this run, and I'll murder you to get it. Interesting home plate collision here. Check this out. Ground ball to first, play at the plate, and he's dead. Oh my God. Ooh-wee. I love how he crawls back, by the way. I love the just inspirational of, like, he's just nothing's gonna stop this guy, man. This is apparently, I don't know if this is like, what's the Last Boy Scout and Cole, pop, pop, pop. Like, if it's that level, I don't know why this kid wanted this run this bad, but damn it, he was going to score this final run here at home plate. And if he had to murder this catcher to do it, he was going to do it. I mean, let's look at this again. Ground ball to first, and I really want to score. Oh my God. Bah! And then the crawl back. They won the game. They won the game. Catcher's in a wheelchair, but won the game. Holy Lord. Inspirational or illegal? I don't know. Either way, it was fun to watch. Either way, it was fun to watch. All right, let's see what else I wanted to bring you here. Oh, is this the big one here? Yeah. Okay. We were talking about all day. We just talked about Messi, soccer. We've been talking about mental, things, and dealing with what goes on in between the ears. This is kind of throwing it all together in one. So there's a young boy that got the attention of the Mexican soccer team. As we were discussing Lionel Messi from Argentina, but soccer, most popular sport in a lot of different places. And the Mexican soccer team went viral recently because they fell in love with this little boy here. This little boy, who is not of Mexican descent, very much wants to be a Mexican human being. And I could make a whole rant about how maybe, you know, there's been other things where kids want to quote unquote identify as a certain this or identify as a certain that. And maybe this is a good example of why we shouldn't really worry too much about at this moment what this kid wants to quote unquote identify as, because maybe they're overall, you know, long-term logic isn't really there, but he got the hearts of this Mexican national team. He decided he wants to be Mexican because he likes quesadillas, even though he's a young black kid. So here we go. Black kid wants to identify as Mexican and got the attention and the hearts of the soccer team in Mexico.
You're Ethiopian. You're African. You're black. Okay?
I want to be Mexican.
Why do you want to be Mexican? Huh? Because you eat quesadillas?
Yeah.
That's why you want to be Mexican. So you don't want to be from Africa anymore?
No.
Why not?
Because I want to be Mexican.
Where do you get this from? What make you want to be Mexican? You can't just be Mexican just because you eat quesadillas.
It's because Nagasi is Mexican.
Nagasi's Ethiopian too. He's half Mexican, but he's Ethiopian too.
Not Mexican too.
Because your parents are not Mexican. His mom is Mexican. I'm not Mexican. Your dad is not Mexican.
But I'm Mexican too.
Yeah.
How are you gonna be Mexican if none of your parents is Mexican?
Because I want to be Mexican and shut up because I'm Mexican. That's why. The kid wants to be Mexican. He likes Mexican people. He likes the Mexican culture. He likes the Mexican soccer team. He likes quesadillas. God dang it, I'm Mexican.
I'm not a Mexican.
All right? I'm a Mexican boy.
I'm not a Mexican.
Good news. Mexican soccer team did go out after seeing the video that went viral, went out on Twitter and said, hey, can someone please get us in touch with this kid? And he got to do it, and he at least got to be part of the Mexican soccer team for a day, which I guess is a nice second place.
How are you? Good. Good? Yeah. Good for you. Hey,
Got a little gift. That's nice.
Oh, wait, why are you talking? These are for me?
Sí, for you.
Oh, cool.
Got him some socks there.
Yeah.
Cool. And the shorts.
Yes.
Got the whole uniform.
Cheese.
Estaba disfrutando sus quesadillas.
Gets to eat some quesadillas. Because he's Mexican.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Bye.
Eating quesadillas, hanging with the soccer team. Having a good old time. Just being a young boy. So there it is. Happily ever after there for him. He is now a young Mexican child, at least for a day, and is part of the Mexican soccer team because that's what he wants to do. I like ending on a happy ending like that. The fact is, he wanted it, he got it, they made it happen, but maybe, you know, I don't know. That logic being shown to be maybe we should maybe not, is that too much? I don't want to get into like a holy war here, but I mean, you know, there's certain ages where they're trying to tell me that, hey, you know, I mean, we got to take what they say seriously. If they say they identify this way or that way, well, this kid decided he wanted to be a Mexican child and wanted to hang out with the Mexican soccer team because he likes quesadillas. Maybe other things are not. You know what? I'm just going to leave. I'm going to go home and I'm going to call today. I'm going to identify myself as done, and I hope you guys have a good one. Adios.